Hi there and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be going over 24 paintings that I did. Well, showing 23 because I sold one, but 24 paintings that I did for December's Art Advent calendar. I used the Doodle Wash daily prompts and I tried to use supplies that I have neglected or haven't tried out and used in a while, and I was pushing my comfort zone. So if you followed me, you'll know that I usually do more realistic styles with colored pencil, and watercolor. And I was really trying to be more illustrative and loose with certain paintings and just try new things. So anyway, let's get to it. This is day one and the prompt was pine cone. And I used a color Pompeian Red. It's a handmade watercolor from Gardenia Fair, which is an Etsy shop. I happened to order something else from her and she nicely sent a dot card for free and I finally got around to using it. I really love how the color turned out. I also used a tiny bit of red from Sennelier that I had for the cheeks and some splatter in the background. I did a couple of layers with the color and then I went over with ink for that more illustrative look. That's day one. Okay, day two. Day two, I used ink tints and Spectrum Noir, the copper color of the marker. So I'll tilt it and you can get a better idea just how shiny that copper can be. And the ink tints blocks took some getting used to because I'm so used to watercolor. They dry, they have quite a bit more of a drying shift than regular watercolor. So when I thought I was putting down the color, it kept getting lighter and I would have to do it again. I also used masking fluid to mask off the patterns on the flower. The prompt for this day was poinsettia. And because I love ocean art and ocean animals so much, I made the poinsettia, sorry if I'm saying that wrong, on a sea turtle. Day three was, what was the prompt? I think it was tree, Christmas tree, pine tree. And I used Brusho. So I had this powder. This is the first thing I ever bought for watercolor was the Brusho powders. And how it works is you kind of sprinkle it on and you can either paint with it or spray it. And I'm not sure how light fast they are, so I don't use them very much. But for this application where I want to turn these into prints or cards, it's perfect. So I used the Brusho, I want to say it was the Ultramarine, dabbled it on and gave it a spritz, and then I brushed over areas where I wanted it to show more distinctly or dark. And of course I had masking fluid for the white, and then I went over with splatter for the stars and added some yellow on the star there for this one. Do a close up. The Brusho can get really neat textures. I got them originally when I was just into colored pencil. I hadn't used watercolor before, and I was just looking for something to have some splashy backgrounds. Okay, day four already. Day four, the prompt was baubles. I edited this line out. It went through my pad, and then after this day, I started just taking the paper out of the pad to use so I wouldn't bleed through. Obviously, my spraying from the day before bled through. Anyway, the card won't have that in the final edit. For this one, I used the Isaro Watercolours, and again, I used that Spectrum Noir brush marker, and it was silver, color silver. You can see how shiny it is. I painted the baubles first, and I purposely dropped in water when it was still damp to get that cauliflowering effect. I did it in the background too. Just trying to have fun, see what would happen. I really like how this one turned out. Okay, for day five, this was one that I had done a while ago. I was out all day, so I just didn't get a chance this day, and I kind of cheated by grabbing something I'd worked on before, but the prompt was candles, so it worked out. This one, I know I followed a tutorial, so I won't have it for sale, but I know that it's when I fell in love with indigo. That color is beautiful. Day six, the prompt was candy cane. And I just used, I want to say Jackson's Red. I think I wrote it on the back. Yeah, I did. Jackson's Watercolors, and that's the set that I have right here. I just have their basic, I think, what was it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 color starter set that I got from them in tubes, and then I put it into this little tin. So this is the Jackson's Red monochrome, and then I outlined it, but I also scanned it both ways because I wasn't sure if I liked the subtle before I put the outline on or if I liked it more after. It turned out really thick, and I think it maybe contrasted with the background too much. Oops, sorry about that interruption. My dog started barking. I had to go deal with that. This is day 7. Yeah, day 7, and it was the prompt Robin. This one is more my usual style. I used the Isaro Watercolours again, and I did this one in public. I was at the arena watching my kids play hockey. That is number 7. Day 8. The prompt was Nutcracker. Sorry, I keep turning it around. That's because on some of them I wrote more information in the back if I had that. I don't know what to say about this one. Nutcrackers aren't my favorite subject. I did use some sparkly paint, gold paint for him. I think it was the Fine Tech. I've had those forever and never used them. So that was part of my goal, was trying things that I just have hanging around, never use. And this one was my first attempt ever using gouache. So another thing, owned forever, never tried it. Gouache. It was interesting. It's very different from watercolor, quite the learning curve. And it definitely dries more matte and flat. I didn't know how to feel about it when I was working on it, but in the end, I think he turned out kind of cute. He has this shadow guy because I wasn't really feeling it at the time. I felt like I failed at it and it didn't turn out how I had intended. So I put this shadow guy and I named it my inner critic or inner critic. That's that one. And then day 10 is this reindeer. And this I did not intend to be my day 10 at all. What ended up happening was I had this giant swatch sheet. This was from a huge piece of paper, and I had just been swatching my Van Gogh muted colors. And then I just started painting and didn't stop, and I realized I'd fulfilled the prompt for the day. So that's it. It is a muted palette, the Van Gogh muted palette with Micron pen on top. Okay, and this one is gifts was the prompt, and I did the splashy background first without having a plan of what I was going to put on top, and my first attempt didn't work out. I wish I had kept it to show you, but it went in the trash. It just did not turn out at all. And then for the second one, I ended up doing pencil sketch in my sketchbook to design the layout first. Then I pencil sketched on here and then did the pen and the extra details, adding some layers of watercolor to give it some contrast from the background. I like that a lot better than my first attempt. A little bit more planning went a long way. I think this would be a really fun card for any occasion. And the next one, I know I skipped one here, and that's the one that I sold. It was a rainbow background and a polar bear. I will stick it in the video when I do my final edit, but for now, I will share this one. This is the prompt mistletoe, and it is a mama and baby polar bear. After this, I got on a little polar bear and splashy background because I really loved how the gifts turned out, and then the next polar bear with the white gouache and watercolor. I was really enjoying that, especially how the white gouache kind of pulls the watercolor up from the background, so it automatically inserts your subject into the setting. And I just love that. I know I keep saying I love it, but I'm not used to talking so many minutes in a row like this. Oh, and this one I also used the salt technique on the background. And next day, again with the polar bears. Although this one, he kind of looks like a mix of a fox and a polar bear. He's kind of skinny. The prompt was stocking, so he's sitting in the stocking, and one of my favorite colors, Sodalite Genuine. And here is the angel prompt. I want to say that the background is moonlight and sodalite, and you can see the lovely granulation those colors give, all that texture. And then again, I tried the white gouache on top, and then, oh, my dog, sorry about that. And then again, I tried the white gouache on top, and then layered details with watercolor. The face is gouache, the hair is watercolor. I was kind of going back and forth on this one, and then finally ink. And this is where I learned when I was doing her face. I learned that ink does not layer super well on gouache. It kind of ruins your pen a little bit, so I had to be careful with that. And the next one is trees. Trees again. I can't remember. Maybe I went off topic for this. Sometimes I was following the Doodle Wash prompts, and sometimes I wasn't feeling motivated or inspired by a certain one, so I just did my own thing. So with this one, I was again going for this more illustrative style and didn't plan it in advance. I knew roughly that I wanted to have rows of trees, so I used my ruler to make sure that they would be straight and kind of centered, although they're to the right. That was easy to crop online for a card, so not a big deal. But I just tried to make different strokes, different patterns, different types of trees. And the background is Potter's Pink, another beautiful granulating pigment. I apologize for my dogs. It's hard to film live like this. Okay, the next one, the prompt was Snowman, and he feels like he's missing something or looking at something, like he should have a bird in his hand. But I felt like that's been done so much, he would just have nothing in his hand. He's just happy for no reason. Snowman. This one does not have any gouache. It's just watercolor. Oh, and the prompt for this one was mittens. It is a splashy watercolor background, and then watercolor mittens, and then I added details with white gouache and Micron pen. And this one is a watercolor background and gouache on top. The prompt was elves. So I have 3 elves here. Kind of doing a candygram exchange with my little reader. I don't know. It's all a learning experience, right? I took a long time to do this just because of all the little design choices I made, I guess you could say. But it's not my favorite. And the next one is Santa. I did this background, the splashy circle background, and I loved it, but I had no idea what to use it for. It has kyanite, genuine kyanite, so you can see that sparkle that kind of makes it like a galaxy. And then when the prompt was Santa, it just clicked that he could be flying through the night sky with his reindeer. And Rudolph. Maybe I should have made that red. I could always change it. Okay, the next one was fox. So I did an Arctic fox, and I actually like this one better before I did all the line work. I scanned both. I'll put the copy so that you can compare and let me know which one you like better. I think I overworked it a bit with that. So this was with the beam paints. I have this gray palette, which I've used in a past video for the octopus painting that I did. I used it again, plus I added white gouache for the fox part of it. And then Santa. As you can see, I duplicated certain prompts just with what I felt like doing. This one I'm really happy with. I had no real plan. I knew that I wanted to have Santa's head, and I just painted it very loosely. I mean, I was all over the place, and that's why the colors overlap the way they do. His skin with his head, the hair, the fluff of his hat with the red of his hat, and I like how that turned out. It turned out loose and luminous, like it's reflecting. And the bag too. I was trying to experiment more with using cool tones for shadows and then adding warm tones for highlights. And I think it succeeded. I'm happy with it. He looks so gentle. And then this guy, I had the background. This is similar to the background of the polar bear that sold. And because I loved it so much, I did it again. Because when you love something, why not do it again? And after I painted the background, I decided to put a little snowman. And again, I'm playing with the adding warm touches to the light and cool touches to the dark to create that depth. And I really love how it turned out. This one is very subtle. It doesn't have high contrast. The lights are making it worse too. In my camera settings, I'll have to upload. You can check my Instagram for more accurate color. And then my final one, number 24, was an artist snowman. I have a pattern of when I like something, I do it again, try to do it again in a different way. So this one, another rainbow background, but this time I did the cauliflowering on purpose to create that snowy blizzard effect, which is more abstract. And then I painted my character again. He doesn't have a name yet. Maybe I'll think of a name. And he's painting the background too. So I just love it. It's cute. And I hope you enjoyed my 24 days of painting. Soon I'll be releasing a video on my New Year's goals and my no-buy art supply for 2022. Have a good day. Bye.